Um, what's okay? Seems to be the problem. Ah. Okay, I'm back. Pardon me, this thing can get complicated. So the next speaker is EKOMOBONG AKINSEYE. So I'm going to share my screen and then bring her up. Right. Okay. So EKOMOBONG is a trained architect who is fulfilling her lifelong passions in art and photography. With over 10 years experience as a makeup artist and photographer, her creativity clearly stands out. She's called by a number of people, she's called the architect of skin. And trust me, I've seen her work, as in, she's called the architect of skin, due to her unique ability to create and bring to life iconic looks and designs. The latest one she did, with a team was about Marie Antoinette, a French queen or empress, and it was so beautiful. She's a go-getter who wields her makeup brush like a magician's wand, like when she's making up, like, and she just creates wonder. And yes, she does create magic every single time. EKOMOBONG is a published makeup artist whose editorial works have been featured on several magazines. Her most recent iconic work, The Exotic African Creature, is a collection of unique fusions of art, makeup, and photography. If you see this work, you will know what I'm talking about. The Exotic African Creature. Now, she will be speaking on the topic chasing creative dreams. So please let's welcome EKOMOBONG. Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
We can't hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay, hold on. I thought I was. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, Johnson, can you hear me? Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is EKOMOBONG, as I've been beautifully introduced. I'm an architect by profession. I genuinely love things of art. I love to be creative. I love to be in my zone. Being creative is everything to me. It's my pick me up. Yes, at every point in time. As in, I can actually just dive into there and I'll be fine. So basically, I won't talk too much. I'll just go into me. I'm talking about chasing the creative dream, and this topic resonates so much with me because I didn't start off as someone doing art. I didn't even know I wanted to study architecture. Architecture just, let's say, chose me, so to speak. And in doing architecture while I was there, it tends to make you want to touch into who you are and what you can actually create. And even while I was in school, I still didn't really get anything artistic, so to speak, resonating from within. But funny enough, one thing I've come to understand about life is, as Dotun earlier on stated, when you have people that encourage you and push you and tell you to look within, that's as a child, but also even as an adult, it actually also helps. It actually makes you see that yes, there are so many things that are possible within what, as they are beyond what you can possibly imagine. Every day I learn different new things about myself, and it's a beautiful feeling to know that every day something new comes up. It's not boring. Okay, back to what I was saying. Started off architecture, came out of school, went into interior design, and then after a while, I went into banking. And the funny thing, even with all of this, I went into makeup. And in going into makeup, the one thing that still always rung true and resonated within me was, is it just about painting faces for brides? Is it just about painting faces? Can I not take it a step further? Can I not push the envelope just a little bit? And in pushing that envelope, I actually really saw that there's so much to actually explore, so many untapped sections I hadn't even yet dived into. There's so many untouched waters I haven't even yet touched. And it was a very, very liberating feeling, actually. I will not lie. It was beautiful to actually know, yes, you can actually reach for more. Like, it doesn't just end at one point. There's always a higher point. There's always a ceiling that you can actually break. There's always something that can actually be done. And I want to actually use the opportunity to actually thank the people I've had around me, from my husband to my mother to my siblings. The kind of thing where you have a supportive background, or you have a good support system that pushes you to be the best that you can actually be. And I feel that's one thing that parents actually need to do for their children. And as I explained earlier on, I wasn't artistic before. I was one of those people that maybe when I was in primary school, I was drawing and doing painting and doing different things. No. Even when I was in university, I wasn't that sort of person. I'm actually learning all of this now after it all. And then I won't say I didn't have a background where they didn't encourage you, like maybe some other people had in terms of their own experience. But I had a background where, try this out, you just might like it. Do this, you just might like it. And I carried that same energy into adulthood. And it's been a very good thing for parents to actually do this for their children. They might not find out who they want to be immediately, but as they grow older, it helps to push the envelope. It helps not make their life boring. It helps them to have something to do, as against, how will I put it, being engrossed in, let's say, things of the world in quotes. But it gives them a way, an avenue to be focused on something other than just looking for things that shouldn't be. Like, luckily for me, I have always been preoccupied in discovering myself. And I think that's one thing that chasing that creative dream actually helped to enhance. I've always been chasing after what could be better, what could be more exciting, creative wise, and it has kept me focused, kept me like preoccupied in discovering myself, other than getting carried away by peer pressure and so many other things. So now I'd like to say that in terms of my experience from architecture to the present, I have gone through so much in a very exciting manner. And I can say, as I said before, it has been very, very exciting, but though challenging. Because sometimes you look at it like, why do I want to do so many things? Why do I like so many things? Sometimes you want to just focus on one thing, but different things keep pulling at you left, right, and center. And as a parent, I would say that what you can do for any child that you have that's like me is just keep encouraging them. Just keep showing them that, yes, it's okay. You want to do this? Fine. You want to do this other thing? Fine. That mode of having people at your back always encouraging you, I can tell you for a fact, pushes you to be more than you can actually desire or imagine to be. Like now, I went from architecture to um makeup, and a lot of people always say, okay, the reason why I'm so good at makeup is because I'm an architect. And well, that adds to it, but still you have to genuinely love it against all odds. And as I said earlier, I was in the banking industry, and in the banking industry, I could have actually, that part of me could have actually died. But back to being having a good supportive system, encouraging that section, and then me also being focused on wanting, knowing this is what I also wanted. Then now we're looking at makeup. Now let's dive it now into art. Art, I can tell you, I just discovered. Though other people saw it in me before I saw it in myself, and it was actually, that's another good thing that actually happened. I discovered it myself, so I can now be true to it. I didn't just take what people had to say. I had to discover it for myself. The same thing when it comes to training up your children. You can't force anything down their throats. You have to want to take a step back and allow them to discover things for themselves. In discovering things for themselves, it actually makes the discovery more exciting. It actually makes the discovery more purposeful. It makes it makes it, how will I put it? It makes it more magical when tough times come up and then you just realize that this is what I want, so I'm going to fight for it. And that's one thing. I'm talking based on fact I'm very passionate about this. I'm very passionate about being a creative. It's, as I said earlier, it makes me genuinely happy from within. And I want to be like this whenever anybody has a creative child in whatever aspect, this generally you see the happiness radiates from inside, the joy without having to do anything. As in that child will just be happy in that space. Like Dr. earlier on mentioned that when she was younger, she used to play with things and put things together and stuff. And that for her, that was like her happy place. The same thing with me when it comes to this section is my happy place. And the beautiful part about taking makeup into art is a new discovery that I'm truly honestly very excited about. And then now also now taking makeup art and into photography is another thing, is another dimension that is truly exciting. I can't really explain it. But I can tell you for a fact that it's most rewarding when you allow your children be the best of whom they are meant to be. Because it's literally there's a space for everybody in this world. We're not all called to be lawyers. We're not all called to be one thing or the other. We're all called to be different things. And I think that in enabling and pushing them to be their best calling, you are doing the best for them. Okay, now I won't say in all these things there are no pros and there are no cons. The pros, as I explained extensively, is that it's quite rewarding. The cons, well, they exist, and some of it be is the initial part of trying to discover who you are is a bit frustrating, and that's why you need a good supportive system. It's actually kind of frustrating trying to know what do I like, what don't I like, because you must have to test. You have to test the waters. You have to try. You have to trials and failures. And one thing people have to understand that failing doesn't necessarily mean failure as in that's everything is dead and gone. Failure is another step in the right direction towards what it is that you want to achieve. Failure is actually a stepping stone. When you fail at something, you know, okay, yes, it can't work this way. You know, yes, it's going to work. Like so many scientists so many scientists back in the day found out different things that they were being rewarded for based on accidents, that they stumbled upon it, that they were trying for something else and they got this. That's what being a creative, that's what even being someone that's intelligent is all about. I feel the people that are creative are intelligent, and everybody generally is creative in one form or the other. It could be the act of holding clothes, it could be the act of making hair, it could be the act of organizing anything. It's being a creative is just tapping into that section of your mind where God actually has deposited in everybody in different doses. Another con I can say for a fact is that a lot of people might not understand you, and it's fine. I know a lot, and even you might not understand your child, and it's fine. The key thing is for you to ask God for the grace to enable you to be there for that child the best way you can. My parents are not into makeup, my parents are not into art. Um, so many people around me are not into makeup or art or photography, but they just encourage me. They keep on saying, "Ride on, you get it." They don't really know what I'm doing, but they just keep saying thumbs up. And those things in itself are huge encouraging factors. There are things that will enable you to ensure that whatever happens, you have a landing pad, and that in itself is a big deal. Then one thing I would like to encourage parents when it comes to chasing the creative dream is encouraging them to meet other creatives. That helps in boosting and that helps in bringing forth to the center of their minds as to what could possibly be good for them. As in, if Dustin spoke about Tony Stark, Iron Man, as in I genuinely love the Avengers series. And the reason why I love the Avengers series is because there are so many superheroes coming together for one greater good. I genuinely believe in the art of networking, and I feel that also constitutes when it comes to bring up a child too. If you bring up a child in a creative format and then yes, you don't really have what it takes to encourage that child to be the best of that what that child can be, You can encourage a child to actually meet up with other people. You can recruit people that can teach your children to be what they want aspiring to be. If you're lucky and your child knows exactly what he wants to be at a very early age, that's beautiful. But if you know your child is still searching, still groping in the dark as to what it is he or she wants to learn and he or she wants to do, that's also fine. The key thing, as I said, is encouraging. You can never overemphasize encouragement in everything that concerns being a creative. Chasing that dream generally is rewarding, but it comes with a lot of hard work. And that hard work doesn't feel like work once you genuinely enjoy what it is that you do. Well, for my own session, I didn't plan on talking too much, but I feel like if anybody has any question concerning how I went from point A to point B, what it is you can actually do to encourage your child when it comes to different aspects, I think you can actually ask the questions now. I'll be ready and willing to actually answer. Any questions? Okay, hi Nene. Hi Nene. So any questions?
I think for me, hello, Echo, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. So I think for me, even though like I would say that I know a lot about your creative process and all, I think the question that I will ask on behalf of other parents, myself inclusive, is how do you, what was the entire, what was the emotional journey like? The emotional and mental journey, like finding yourself and trying to maybe not necessarily explain yourself to other people, but trying to express, let me put it that way, to other people. Was it something that you felt that people did they readily accept you? Or did you just, was it a mix, or did you just do your thing, without caring? I know you had like a supportive background, but did you ever feel like maybe at some point were you yearning to meet like other people? What was your emotional and mental state like during your creative process?
Okay, during my creative process, I can tell you for a fact that, as I said, I had a very, very supportive background. But at one point, I was like, this is what I want. It's what I want. And it's what I want. and since it's what I want, I'm going after the tooth and nail is what I want. As in, it's actually funny as Dr. actually earlier stated that I'm a go-getter. I literally didn't see myself that way until like recently. And that was because I just said this is what I want. Even for funny of even architecture, even me reading architecture, my father wanted me to read computer engineering. And then I think that was the first time ever I ever defied my dad. And I told him point blank, I'm not reading computer engineering, I'm reading architecture. And he couldn't believe it. He was like, this is my daughter that has always been very calm to him, Sha. Very calm, very obedient. You say A, she'll do A. She will even ask, is this small letter A or small or big letter A? And then for the first time I told him point blank, this is what I want. And then for me, I only like that very first time was very liberating. And then when I now found out that this is what I actually wanted in terms of art, I I think I still did. I didn't just leave school, or maybe I didn't just okay fine. I let find out I wanted to make up later on, but I didn't just leave whatever it is that was the primary assignment. I started cultivating this thing by the side. I started cultivating this nurturing. I call makeup and art my baby. I've been nurturing it for years. As in I've been babying it, as in it took me a while to really come out and really show everybody this is what I'm all about. As in I really, really wanted it to be that when I come out, people respect it to a particular extent. And then luckily for me, I can say yes, the reviews were actually not bad. And I'm a very optimistic person. So that one too adds to it. I always look at the glass as half full rather than half empty. So I'm one person that would take the compliments over the criticisms. I'll take the criticisms as constructive, no matter how bad it is. I'll look for how well to improve and then just move on from it. That's me. But in terms of the mental toll it took on me, I will not lie, I had sleepless nights. I was I had sleepless nights to just ensure that okay, this thing that I want to do comes out well. Then someone said a couple of questions. Okay, when did I discover my flair for creativity? the age, I can say at the age of, how old am I now? Okay, at the age of 26. It actually, it actually took friends, oh, it actually took some of my friends telling me point blank, you're good at this thing, come and do it on me. As in literally. It took people seeing me and just saying you're good at this thing. You know, you kind of thing when you're doing, you know how to do so many things, and there's people just point at you and just say, why are you slacking? Step up your game in this aspect. I was very, I can say I'm one of the very fortunate few that had a very good, I'll keep on saying it, had a very good supporting system. And that's the best thing any parent can do for their child. And see, as I said, I started at 26. Your children might be definitely be like 10, 11, 12, then discovering themselves. I discovered creativity at 26, and I've been building up from there. I've been building up 25, 26. I've been building up from there as much as I can. I feel that anybody can start at any age. There's so many creatives that started as there's so many creatives that started at even 50. So age is not a restriction, age is not a barrier. Age is nothing but a number, honestly, in this aspect. Then also, when were you when you were on a journey, did you doubt yourself? Ah, I'm the chief doubter. Even till today, self, I still doubted myself, self. A client buzzed for something, as in for a shoot, and I was even still telling my husband that I can't believe she paid. And every day I think most of the time, I think I love art and photography for me first before it's for anybody else. So like I've gotten different feedback from people telling me that when they go to my Instagram page, you can see I genuinely love what I do because I actually genuinely love it. And for me, that's a very beautiful feedback. That for someone to look at my page and say that they can tell that there's love here. So it's not just about the money, it's that I genuinely love it. So even when I'm exhausted and I'm tired and I've gone back to back to back when it comes to shoots, when it comes to clients, I can keep going because I genuinely love it. So for me, it's I would like I don't know if I call it a talent, but as Doctor said earlier on, when you're doing something, to you see, it comes normal. To me, I think it's easy. So I feel everybody else can do it. So I love what I do, and I know this is just the beginning. I honestly feel it's just the beginning. I haven't even yet started. Okay, from YouTube, Nene, do you think your temperament helped to stay true to yourself? Well, I think so. I actually think so because I try to make myself happy. So maybe that. And then another thing too is that I know some temperaments. I'm a sang call, so I think that also helps. A sound call being the sound part always wanting to be happy, and the call part always wanting to make sure things get done. But I still feel that in every temperament, you can tap into that creative side of it. There's a creative side to every temperament. And now that you have said it, Nene, I will do a series of shoots emphasizing that. Thanks for that idea. I'll write it down. Thank you so much, Nene. I appreciate. Okay, then hope I didn't miss anybody. Okay, well, okay, I think that's all the
No, there,
questions.
Ekon, I have some questions for you. Okay.
Why?
I mean, why would I have
I
questions?
was
You are
thinking
good.
of running.
No, no. Don't worry, they are very easy questions. Okay. Just
Okay.
few ones. Okay. I'm asking, based on what you said, I've seen, like I said, I've watched you work, so I just know that there's some things that people will be wondering. So I felt okay, let me ask on their behalf. Okay.
Okay.
So number one, right? What triggered you to start that creative journey after banking? What was the thing that made you, say, okay, I'm going to do this?
Okay. I think that that's the particular year that I left banking. I looked at it that was I actually living to the fullest of my potential. Fine, I was good at what I was doing in bank. I was good at it. I could wake up and do it in my sleep. But I looked at it that is that all God called me to do? I'm a very firm believer in the story of the five talents in the Bible. And then and I want to be one of those people that will go back to God and tell him that every single talent he gave me, I used it to the max. As in, I didn't slack in any area. As in, it was architecture, if it's interior, if it's art, if it's photography, if it's if I even find out I want to start acting, I will run with it. As in, I'm determined that I will go back to God empty, that I used it and I made him proud. I made him happy. As in literally, that's actually my major goal. As in, I go to bed at night and I wake up when I wake up in the morning, I think of how else again can I actually do this thing that I can impact somebody else also too. Because I always tell people that hard work pays. Doesn't matter how long, it actually generally pays. And then when I made up my mind to leave banking, I know one thing someone very dear to me told me: have a plan. Have a plan and make sure that you have a plan that you're going to run with. And I won't lie, it was sketchy at first, but I won't lie, as the days have unfolded, it's as if the plan is expanding. And since I left, I made up my mind that I'll make sure that it's not a waste. It's not a waste. As in, the key thing is not to just get by in life. Make sure that my life is purposeful. That for me is my major reason for being how I am. Temperament
Oh,
aside.
okay, thank you very much. So I have another question. Um, there's something you said that is very instructive, right? And that's die empty.
Yeah.
Die empty. A lot of people say that now, but we need to look at our children and ensure that we give them the tools so that when they are going to die, of course, we all pray they die after us. I mean,
Yes.
if they are going to die, they die empty. Do you
Yeah.
understand? That's very instructive. Thank you for that. So, okay, the next question, right, is that can you share some way? You talk about being encouraged. You talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
So can you share some ways that you were encouraged? As in, what ways did people encourage you?
Okay, my very first one, especially in the makeup journey, that was even before I even joined banking. I was between jobs and I was looking at, okay, my makeup was actually meant to be my retirement plan. Luckily, I went to school like CU, and they told us then when we were in year one to write our retirement plan. And then I was trying to think of different things I was good at, and I was okay, let me just put makeup as my retirement plan. So while I was in between jobs, I was like, okay, fine, it's retirement plan, but you're not doing anything right now. Why don't you start it? So I told my mom about it. And I can remember that day very well because I was like so low, really thinking that I'm just here listening away, doing nothing. And I told her and I told her that I've gone through different Instagram posts and I saw one school that is ready to do a 2 day training, 2 or 3 day training, and then give me makeup brushes. And then I didn't have anything. I didn't have a brush, I didn't have eyeshadow, I didn't have eyeliner, I didn't have anything. And then so I thought, okay, that was a very good starting part. So my mom scrapped up money, and I can remember very well it was 28,500, and she gave me, and I went to go apply for that course. And then the funny thing was that on my you let me switch over.
Um,
Sorry,
what? Okay.
can you see me now?
It's a little dark. Okay, you need to adjust your camera because we are
Can you
seeing
see
you,
me
and then we are seeing. But it's fine. It's fine. We like that you are seeing your camera.
now? Okay, sorry, my camera went off. Okay, so she actually gave me the funds and I went for the course. The funny thing is that what a lot of people don't know is that on my way to that course, I I got in an accident. I got in a bike accident. I still
Wow.
have the scar till then. Yes. And then it was drizzling. I think it was the first day. Yes, it was drizzling. So I didn't myself on the bike. I didn't even know it was a stationary car. And that's how before he realized it, he skidded and both of us were on the floor. And all I could think at the time was my laptop. So what I did was that I put my laptop I made sure my laptop landed on my body. I wasn't even particular about my body. I went for the class. I didn't even know my leg was bleeding. It was one that told me that, sister, your leg's bleeding. And I said, okay. And because I didn't attend to that wound on time, it turned out to be a sore. But I just want to make you understand how much I was passionate about going for that thing. As in, for me, it was a thing of nothing was going to stop me. I was going to be there. Because if I could get the opportunity to do this, then I was going to waste it. Then after that, what even made me even go for that course? A very good friend of mine, she was getting married, and she told me, Echo, I want you to make me up for my wedding. Do whatever it is that you need to do, whatever course you need to actually go for, but you're the one that's going to be there to make sure you're making me up. And I felt honored. So when I see young makeup artists and then they're just starting, and then me, I was lucky to have brides. I had friends that were, as in my friends were getting married back to back to back, and I was the one making them up. And it was actually an honor for your friends to actually have that much faith in you too, that they'll say that their most important day, they are saying you are the one that's going to actually do it. And that's why for me, as I keep saying that I was encouraged. I'm one of the few people that I had encouragement back to back. So I won't say that I can talk for some people where they are maybe their parents were like, no, this is not serious. Though another crucial thing was that, as I said earlier on, before I went into makeup, I would study architecture. So I didn't have any fight with my dad as to, okay, a makeup is not a serious course. You should go for this. I actually fulfilled. As I like to say, I sorted him out. I did I did a BSc and MSc in something. So when I was done, I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to do this. And funny enough, I worked because I still wanted to help out at home and everything. Then when I found out that I'd done the best I could do in terms of home, I just said, okay, it's time for me to focus on me. And that's how I've been running. Literally, I've been running with makeup and art and photography. I've been running with it. As I said earlier on, now is the thing of if I want to do this thing, I'm biting into it like Shaki. I'm dragging it. As in, this one is me and it. As in, I must get this thing and I must get it well. So that's basically, and then okay, who else again? Okay, and then I had other people that actually told me point blank that you sure this thing you're doing, you don't want to search deeper. Like a shoot I had recently, the photographer said you have this thing in you, reach within. And when I showed her at first, when I'd done the first look, she said no, dig deeper. I only I just told her, I said, God, how deep again am I going to get? And then I actually heard use that. And another thing is art is spiritual. Being a creative is spiritual. So if you really want your children to be um in tune with God, I guess that's another medium. It's actually deeply spiritual. Being a creative is spiritual. For you to tap into those creative juices, you have to look within. And looking within, you have to discuss on a constant with your maker. In doing that, you reach depths that you never knew existed. When people come out and say, oh my God, I can't believe you did this, even you too will look and say you can't believe you did it because you reached for something deeper than you could have possibly ever imagined. Hope I'm not preaching. I'm just trying to explain how it
No, no,
works.
no, you're not preaching. You're not preaching. Oh, you will. In fact, what you're saying is very instructive, and I'm happy that you're saying this because what you don't know is that you are speaking to, yes, this conference is for parents, but it's focusing on their children. But you are speaking to the parents because they're letting them know that, see, even you as a parent, you can do it. Do you understand?
Exactly.
So, what you're saying is very instructive. When I wrote in your bio that you're a go-getter, I knew what I was writing, you know. And for those that don't know, I was one of EKOMOBONG's brides. Yes, I was one of them. She has been making me for a while. So, I have seen her progress and it's so beautiful to watch, in fact. So we have one more. I have one more question for you. Okay,
Okay.
don't worry. These are easy questions. Okay. So now I know that there are a lot of people right now, both adults and children, who
Yeah.
are trying to discover, trying to discover what their own gifts, their own talents, and all that. So what tips, right, can you give to them, to such people? What tips can you give to the adults? And then what tips can you give to the parents of the children or to the parents? Do you understand? Parents who want their children to discover themselves early. What tips can you give to them?
Okay. Well, one thing I can actually say that you can actually do is I'm a very, very active person, but I've learned that if you want to find yourself, you have to seclude yourself. I'm a people's person. I genuinely enjoy being around people. But I've learned over time and over the years that if you want to really discover who you truly are, you have to go like on a pilgrimage journey, so to speak. That's you and God. The same thing, what you can also do with your with children is that, as I explained earlier on, just allow them explore. Even you as an adult to explore. Try out new things. You just might like it. This advice I'm even saying is that I think I should give this advice to myself when it comes to food. Because I am not adventurous at all. But literally, when it comes to being a creative, try out new things because you just might be shocked what will interest you. You just might be shocked what will ring true with the inner you. Because if you always stand on the edge of caution, you never tap into the fullness of whom you are. You have to you have to take risks. You have to learn how to let go. Even on your pilgrimage journey that you have to like go between you and God, or you and just you alone and just trying to search within, you have to let go of control. Control literally doesn't help when it comes to being a creative. It helps in terms of meeting deadlines. It helps in terms of meeting, of course, your customers and then your clients and stuff when the time comes. But in terms of getting to that creative sphere, you have to let go. Literally, my best works that I've seen that people have raved the most about, I actually let go as I was standing in front of the person and I just allowed it to just flow. The key thing is letting go so it can actually flow. If you can make that like a mantra.
I love that mantra. I love that mantra. Let go so it can flow. I'm doing
Yeah.
that was a nice Instagram post. Okay, so I think one more question, one more thing. Sorry, we still have some time. That's why I'm just piling it up. Your
No
time
problem.
slot is 1 hour. So one more thing, right? Now with what you know as an adult
Yeah.
and what you experienced as a child, what would you do differently with your own children? What are the things that you do differently with your children?
Are you referring to my own childhood or in terms of in general?
I'm talking of, no, in general, like I'm talking of the future. You get your own children, that okay, this is what you experience. So what will you do differently? Because we are trying to provide, we are trying to give our children the opportunities we didn't have to do things
Yes.
differently from our parents' time. You understand? So that's what I'm asking. That's the question. Now, what would you do differently with your own children? You understand?
Okay, I think what I would do differently is they'll have all the classes. They'll have all the classes, they'll be tired. They will have music class, they will have art class, they'll go for swimming, they'll go for sports, they'll go for different things so they can try out their hands in different things so they can see what they are comfortable with. They would maybe if I'd gone for art class and I'd really gone for it a lot, I might have discovered my art journey earlier. Maybe just maybe. So I'm thinking that's something I'll do differently because in other words, I'll do exactly what my mom did, which is go to school, but learn something to do with your hands. Your hands will never fail you. Your hands will never, ever, ever fail you. So for me, what I'll do for my kids is that every possible thing they can possibly learn how to do, badminton, soccer, football, both the both my son and my daughter, art class, art and sip, but they want to be sipping Ribena or something. Anything, just ensure that they tap into every aspect of their life and they can see what is that they can possibly like. That's what I would do differently. I won't restrict them in any way.
Okay. 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 All right. I don't have any questions. I'm done with my questions. Okay, and I don't think there are any questions on social media. So, because I think with what we've asked, they're very instructive. You have opened up a whole lot. So thank you very much for
You're
sharing with
welcome.
us, for sharing
Thank you for
your
having me.
journey. Your work is so inspirational. As in,
Thank you.
I'm not saying this as a friend. Your work is so inspirational. Like, huh, you know, and I thank you so much. Let me not talk too much about that, right? But thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to let you go now. I'll switch off
Okay, sorry,
mic
I just
so
have one more
you
last
can
thing
go.
to actually add.
Oh,
I
please
wrote,
go
I wrote,
ahead. We still have
okay.
time.
I wrote it somewhere that being a creative actually requires deep reflection at every stage, and there is no bus stop. It's a continuous journey. It's a continuous journey, and it never ends. It never stops. I guess just like when you say when you stop learning, you start dying. The same thing. When you stop opening yourself up to being creative, you're actually some part of you is withering away that you're not even aware of. I personally feel that if everybody can tap into their creative sphere, this whole world will be a whole lot happier. Because I met an artist recently at an art exhibition, and I showed her my work, and she was really impressed, and she was like, I should register with the female artists association of Nigeria, and she said something. She said that whenever she goes check her BP, is always good, and they asked her why. She said because she does art. She said once she goes into that art sphere, she's every worry is left at the door. And that resonated with me because it's actually the truth. If I'm sad, if I'm upset, but I go into whatever it is I want to create, I literally don't remember before it's done. Even when I'm exhausted and I start something, more than halfway through, I've forgotten about how I feel. I don't remember that I've been standing for 8 hours. As in literally I've done jobs for like 8 hours. I've stood on a spot putting glitter on somebody to create something for like 3 hours at a stretch. So those are the things that those are the things that ensure that whatever happens, you tap into that inner strength and that inner joy, and it brings out the best for you. So it's a continuous journey. There's no bus stop to it, and anybody can start off at any age. There's no limit to it.
Oh, there's no limit to it, though. So, dear, thank you so much, Komobong. So, dear parents, okay, did you hear what she said? Somebody is doing art, is doing what she loves, and is keeping her BP in a good state.
Exactly.
So those your children that are just running up and down, like you can't understand that kind, that kind of energy. Imagine channeling that energy to what they like to do.
Exactly.
They will be there for hours. You are the one that will be calling them, please come and eat. It's time for dinner. Hmm? So that's a tip for you, for parents. Okay, so thank you so much, Ekomowo. Thank you so much. Okay, there's a question from I think on Facebook. So you're going to have to hold on a bit. We're going to put it in the we're going to put it in the chat so you can see it. Okay, so please just
Okay.
hold on. Okay. So
Yay. I was really scared that it was going to be boring.
oh no, it's not boring. It's not boring. It's not boring. Trust me, it's not boring. People are watching you on Facebook live and on YouTube live.
Read it for
Okay, so let me read the
she
question to
something
you.
OG. If the child is she something OG.
Okay, so I have a question from Chinonye Oji on
Okay.
she's on
Facebook.
she's on Facebook. I haven't met her, but she has really encouraged me. Okay, so Chinonye's question is that if a child is highly creative and loves art, yet is an A plus in her academics, how do I encourage her to choose a path? Did you get that?
I got it.
Although I don't know if you can answer this question, but you
I,
just
I,
try. You
I will
try, then
try.
I would answer. I would support your answer. Okay?
I'll try.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'm a living proof. I study architecture. I've come out with my BSc and my MSc, and I'm doing what I love. The key thing is that though one person always tells me something, he always says focus on one thing. But I don't think there's I don't think it's a crime being multi-passionate, because apparently maybe the child is that. The child is an A student in school and the child is very, very creative. The key thing as a parent, our advice is just keep encouraging that creative side that it never dies. Just keep creating it, because whatever happens, the reason why our parents, which wasn't a bad thing, our parents are very particular about us going to school, was so that we are not held to ransom by anything. As in, we are not held to ransom by anything whatsoever. As in, no economy can hold us down. Like now, I keep telling people that even if I don't, I work, I do my makeup because I know that whatever happens, I can sort out myself because I have a backup plan. Though having backup plan sometimes tends to limit some people's creativity, but I would still advise that with the world that we're in right now, you cannot ask the child to actually take his or her time to actually choose. You don't choose for the child. Let the child choose for his or herself. So that when things get rough, the child remembers that he chose that path, not that mommy or daddy chose the path for me. He chose that path. Like I explained earlier on, that my dad wanted me to study computer engineering and I wanted to study architecture. By year 3, I wanted to change course. As in, it was so hard. I was like, I called my mom and said I want to change. She told me that you chose it. It's late because you start all over again from year 1. So I pulled through, and then guess what? Architecture was difficult, but it trained me to be disciplined. Because they always say one thing: talent is 20%, business acumen is 80%. You cannot just rely only on your talent. You have to make sure with that you back it up with how are you going to progress from this thing? How are you going to pay your bills? How are you going to do what needs to be done so that you don't end up frustrating, choking, and killing that talent? So that's the reason why, even though your child is good in his academics, honestly, personally, is my own advice. The child should still go to school, because in everything that happens, when the child comes out, it's not just the talent. Because you can have there's so many celebrities we have around us that are talented, and then before you know, they are bankrupt. So those things work, everything works hand in hand. The key thing is that while the child is going through school, ensure as much as you can that that talent does not die, to the best of your ability. Encourage that child in different aspects. Bring you can like when I told my dad I wanted to study architecture, he almost killed me with magazines. He said he bought me catalog of magazines of architectural pieces. As in, so that's why I say I'm actually lucky. My parents was that the way my parents were was that if you tell them what you want, they'll start anyway to encourage you. And I feel that's what as a parent you should actually do, because you won't always be there. As much as you can, leave that child with all the tools to survive in this world. Leave that child with all the tools that that child can use to survive in this world. And so, and I said earlier on, you can't survive in this world with only talent. Let's not deceive ourselves. You have to have what you actually need to be able to make sure that talent even grows. Imagine if I studied makeup alone and that's all I had done. I didn't go to school. I didn't learn maybe the EDS I told you about, which taught me that okay, I should plan for the future. I didn't learn maybe of course in architecture there's some accounting courses that some things you actually have to learn here and there. Those things count. No skill and no knowledge is wasted. As you grow older, even you as a parent, you have seen that so many things that were residual memories that you were taught like a long time ago are coming back to you when you need them. When you need them. So nothing is lost. As I said earlier on, as I said, I'll do for my own children when it comes to um, encourage them in this artistic and creative sphere, is that everything and anything, allow them tap their hand into it, because you don't know what or how or when it will help. You actually really don't know. So that's my own answer to that question.
Okay. Thank you so much for your answer. I mean, you said some of the things that I was going to say. Anyway, we are like minds. Let me farm a bit. Okay, so let me just add to that. Really, I understand the predicament because there are some children like that, right? They are good at. It's as if they are good at everything, right? But what you should know is that many times, at a certain time, they are better at one,
Yeah.
right? They're better at one. So what you can do, what you can mostly do, right, is encourage, like Okomobon said, encourage your child. If she wants to do arts and crafts, encourage her. If she's an A student, encourage her to keep being an A student because we live in a world where you need an education. And
Yeah.
we are trying to give our children the best. In a country like Nigeria where BSc doesn't even hold water again, so you having a BSc doesn't even guarantee anything. So you don't want to even start with a child who does not even have BSc because I mean they're starting from like so far behind. You don't want to do that. So encourage your child as an A student. Give her all the tools that she needs to be an A student, right? But on her creative journey, you can, depending on her age, what I usually advise, early on, just leave them with the tools. Don't stress it, don't sweat it, don't breathe down their neck. Just okay, you want to play, you want to do music, okay, should I enroll you for music classes? Just encourage them as little as they can. Over time, right? Over time, the one you see that they'll be tending towards a particular one. In for example, in dance, you can say, oh, dance is dance. No, there's ballet, there's cheerleading, there's as in hip hop. They're all manner of dances. They're all manner. You get so you start out with okay, a dance club, but over time you now start to see that okay, this girl seems to like this cheerleading. Then you take it to the next step. So I encourage you, Mama, don't there's nothing odd about what she's doing. There are children like that. They are just highly gifted. Just encourage her. Encourage whatever ways in whatever ways you can. If you need tips on how to encourage her, you can always reach out to me. You know, we can talk about it and all that. So I hope we've answered your question. I hope we've answered your question. Okay. Oh, you logged me out again. Okay, no, please. Sorry, I can't seem to find my screen. Um,
No, it's we're still in.
sorry. Okay, so Ekomobong, thank you so much
Welcome.
for the session. It's very much appreciated. Um, it's very much appreciated, and well, by next time we are doing this, I hope we can have you there. That will be, of course, this is once a year, so I hope we can have you here. All right. So you can. I'll let you go now. Okay. Just give me a minute. I'm trying to find. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I was looking for